Hi here, Finns here. I'm back for another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the running orders for Eurovision 2025 semi-finals. I've already done a video about semi-final 1 running order. Now let's talk about semi-final 2 running order. And this is the running order for the second semi-final of Eurovision 2025. So opening the show will be Australia, followed by Montenegro, Ireland, Latvia, Armenia, Austria, Greece, and Lithuania. And then in the second half, we continue off with Malta, Georgia, Denmark, Czechia, Luxembourg, Israel, Serbia, and closing the show will be Finland. So let's start from the very beginning. Australia is the opener. Now, I actually predicted this. I actually thought this was going to happen, even though Australia, quite a raunchy opener, if you ask me. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of not a family friendly opener from Australia. You know, a man singing about sex, and then you close with a woman about singing about sex. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very out there entry, a very risky entry from Australia. But it's upbeat and it's kind of catchy. Shake, 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 shake. So at least it's fun. And actually, out of the two show openers from both semi-finals, I kind of prefer this one from Australia than Iceland opening the first one. So yeah, and then you go to the number 2 spot. And you go and see poor Nina from Montenegro getting the number 2 spot. I'm saddened, I'm disappointed, and I'm upset. And I'm quite surprised because I kind of thought the producers would give Montenegro a bit later on in the first half. Considering the numbers at Eurovision are going low and they would want to keep Montenegro in the competition. So I'm quite surprised they've kind of buried Montenegro. And I'm sad because I really kind of think this could be the year and this is their best chance for Montenegro to get to the finals and the producers just give them the number 2 spot. I would have liked to see Montenegro go on later in the running order. I think that only saving grace in this is that the first 5 songs of the semi-final aren't big contenders. Like I think even Australia, that song could go one way or the other. Like I mean, Australia's not invincible, so yeah. And then Ireland, Latvia, and Armenia, they're all kind of in the same boat. Like they're not big contenders. They might be fighting for the lower ends of the qualifications. I think with the first 5 songs, I think one or two will qualify, in my opinion. I think that will happen. So, and Montenegro between Australia and Ireland being the serious entry between two not jokey but quite quirky, zany entries. For Australia singing about milkshakes and Ireland singing about a dead dog in space. It will stand out that people like their big heavy ballads, and I guess Montenegro. I guess it's in a way, the draw is like it's early, but at least it's a nice flow of different musical changes. So yeah, maybe don't write Montenegro off. There still could be a chance for this. People might like it and might remember it, and it will get 12 points from Serbia anyway. So maybe there will be room for this. I still could see a pathway for Montenegro to get to the finals in 9th or 10th. So don't write them off. I think the country I'm kind of thinking like they're really also bearing is Ireland in number 3. It's like, okay, so yeah, I mean Ireland also doesn't have, like Montenegro, a great track record of qualifying to the finals as well. I mean I know they qualified and did very well last year with Bambi Fug, but yeah, Emmy, in the number 3 spot. Yeah, I mean that's also early draws for Ireland as well. Yeah, and then Latvia, kind of nice where it is, I guess. Armenia, also not too shabby where it is. And then Austria, interesting. That's the kind of the first contender of the semi-final. And then you have just before the UK. And I think that's very clever of the producers because I think whoever was going to follow up Austria in this running order would have struggled. So to have an automatic qualifier straight after Austria, I think that's very clever. And I think because no one wants to follow on after JJ's performance from Austria. I mean, because that's winning contender there. So yeah, and then Greece and then Lithuania. It's also in a good position, Lithuania this year. So yeah, I mean, I personally would have swapped Montenegro and Greece around. Um, but you know, I think there's nice musical changes, and I think, yeah, I mean, that's my opinion anyway. So let's go on to the second half now. Malta opening the second half was a choice. I didn't expect that. I kind of thought with show closer, I thought Malta or Finland, and then of course we'll go on to Finland a bit later. But Malta opening it, it's an once again a word I usually use, interesting choice. But you know, I was like, oh no, I wanted Malta to close when I first saw the running order today. But then I kind of thought, Maria Conte can survive wherever she is. She's good as gold. Maria Conte, whatever she sings. So I think, anyway, but no, I think Malta, good contrast after Lithuanian, just before Georgia. I think she's good as gold as wherever she is, really. She's got nothing to worry about. I think this song will still stand out and it will be rememberable wherever it is. And then you've got Georgia. Georgia, I'm worried about coming on after Malta, after coming on after kind of a big contender in a sense, because Malta's qualifying, and I'm worried for Georgia coming on after all the hype that Malta's bringing, and then you have Georgia that had like literally no hype this year. Um, yeah, I'm worried for Georgia. I think this running order's not doing any favors for Georgia. Producers keep giving Georgia early second half draws. It's either any years like 10 or 11 for Georgia in the running order. I don't know why. They always have Georgia this early on in the second half every year. I don't know why they always do that, but hey, you know, at least it's the second half. At least it's not like getting the number two spot every year. But anyway, yeah, Georgia, and then having an interval act of France is just like a bit weird having the two ballads next to each other. Anyway, and then Denmark comes, and then actually I think Denmark's in a good position coming on after, well, competition wise, Georgia, and then having the small the France act. It's the first fun entry for Denmark after quite a couple of ballads. It's something quite fun and upbeat for Denmark. So I think Denmark's in a good position, and then it's a nice contrast for Czechia afterwards. A little bit ballady, but then a bit mid-tempo-y with the dance break in it. So Czechia's nice. Luxembourg, we go fun, happy, campy, kind of happy, girly kind of song with Luxembourg and Laura Fawn and Frenchy. And yeah, I mean, that's a nice contrast. And then Israel, then we go to our big power ballads. Interestingly enough, 14 was the same running order number Israel got last year in the second semi-final as well, with Eden Golan, interesting enough. So and it works out well for her. Well, eventually with the results. Not everybody liked that, but hey. But no, I think Yulva, you know, I think her song is wonderful, and wherever she would have performed, she was going to stand out. And Israel's qualifying. Israel is qualifying for sure. And then, interesting enough, you got Serbia, another ballad, and Finland closing. Now, I would have been a bit worried for Serbia if there wasn't an interval, well, not an interval act, an automatic qualifier of Germany in between Israel and Serbia. I would have been worried for Serbia coming on after Israel and just before Finland. It would be like another Netherlands 2023 moment with me and Dion and scenario. But actually having that automatic qualifier of Germany between Israel and Serbia, I think that does survive it and saves it a little bit. So I see why they've done Serbia, because the last few years Serbia's either got 2 or 3 in the running order, and it's about time a nice flip for Serbia. I knew this would happen, and I'm happy for Serbia. And I like the song Serbia. I just didn't like the staging at the national selection and the national selection process. So get rid of that. I like the Serbian song. It's not the most popular song, so I do worry still, even with a late draw for Serbia. But, the running order's not bad for Serbia, at least. And then Finland closing. I wanted Malta to close, but I'm happy with Erica, Finland. I know it's 2 years just after Kariya from Finland closed his semi-final for Finland, but it's okay. I mean, it's still a fun way to close the show, I guess, with Erica. It's going to go out with a bang. Maybe this was something from the EBU because there's been a little bit of heat discussions about it, Finland staging and whether it's just too sexy for Eurovision and that. And then there's the Finland was threatening to withdraw at the last minute and all this drama happening. So maybe this was an apology from the EBU for, we're sorry about this, but we'll make you perform last in the semi-final, Finland, okay? But no, I think that wherever you put Finland, she was always going to qualify. And I think actually putting her last, I think it's good that nobody has to follow her. So that's good for Finland. I thought the running order would have been Australia, Greece, Armenia, Latvia, Austria, Ireland, Montenegro, Lithuania, Denmark, Czechia, Israel, Finland, Georgia, Luxembourg, Serbia, and Malta. So I got some of those right, I guess. So who's looking good from this running order? I'd say Lithuania's looking good. Malta's looking good, even though they're opening the second half. Israel's looking good. I actually think Serbia's good, having Germany as the automatic qualifier just before them. And of course, Finland, I think, is looking good. Who I'm worried about, I think Georgia's got a tough draw after Malta, though. I really do. And Montenegro, of course, the obvious game, the number 2 spot. And Ireland, in a way, it just seems a bit buried early on, especially when you've got Australia opening. But in any case, what do you think of the second semi-final running order for Eurovision 2025? Comment down below in the comment section below. Like and subscribe this video, and I'll be back for more content very soon. Until then, goodbye, people. Goodbye.